Okay, hi Jeremy, thank you for being with us today. Just to start off, can you say a little bit about your practice, please, and the sorts of projects you work on?
Sure. So we are J. Foster Architects. We do predominantly small residential, London-based practice since 2014. And we do typically conversions, extensions, and renovations of London properties, and a wide range of services, all the REBA project stages. And our background is sort of bigger commercial and residential projects, so we do offer other services.
So yeah, construction services all the way through the construction phase as well, like contract administration and things.
Exactly, yeah. So from concept design all the way through to sort of post-completion monitoring and review.
And you've used NBS building for a number of years, but you've recently used Chorus on sort of first project for Chorus. Can you show how you've written the software?
Sure, yeah. So one recent project using Chorus, I've created a prelims and a specification for a residential project in Highbury. And just going into the specification. There are 33 sections, so all the way through from demolition and strip out to sort of final sealants and fixings and adhesives. And this is done in a very sort of bespoke way, and the idea is this is tailored to produce very rigorous sort of pricing documentation for this project.
For example, one of these sections here, have you sort of removed the clauses that aren't relevant, and is it possible to open maybe, I don't know, L10 or?
Yeah, so if I show you one of the recent ones I've been working on is electrical. So this has got all the lighting in. So again, anything that's not relevant is parked. So it's just struck out and not printed. Obviously, distribution boards is the new electrics going in for the loft levels, which are being converted. And then the specific lighting here. And I've actually custom made these clauses, which have pulled in all the data from the suppliers Astro, who do the lighting. So this is all the sort of key data from their product. So there are sort of 17 parameters, and then this will be tagged and linked to the Revit model.
And is working in the cloud, has that made you a bit more efficient, being able to access from, say, the Mac and the PC and within Revit, etc.?
Yeah, so the way I work is there's a desktop PC in the studio and a Mac at home, and I've been able to work pretty fluidly and seamlessly between the two, which has been a major difference to building where it was desk-based, PC-based, and only could be carried out within the studio space. So here it's working on the fly, working, odd hours, and not necessarily physically having to be by the machine that has Chorus or building on it.
Yeah, I know I've worked at NBS for 20 years now, and whenever we did customer satisfaction surveys, like flexibility over the licensing and can you make it work on the Mac, were almost always the two biggest requests, and it's fantastic to be able to release a product that works in the cloud and treats the sort of PC, Mac, work from home users, sort of gives that flexibility.
Yeah. No, it's made a huge difference, and the fact it's it's the same environment on a Mac and a PC is great. So there's consistency between the two, and you're working in the same product and the same application on either platform.
And is it possible to open up a section and maybe show where you've specified a manufacturer product from the NBS manufacturer library?
Yeah, sure.
How you did that?
So one of the recent ones is so Windows. And again, we've got some roof windows. So there's a Velux, so there's a standard Velux window. And then there's another one, and I think I've pulled this one in, which is the Roof Light Company. So they do a flush heritage style roof light. So again, Sorry.
And you grab those from the products tab on the right hand side.
Yeah. So if I click in here, go to products.
Yeah. And if we could improve the way that you find products inside the spec system, what would you like us to sort of focus on next?
Yeah, I mean, it's just an additional filter maybe. So when you've got a lot of results, if you could maybe fine tune it so you can filter by first letter of manufacturer or something like that. Because when you've got a lot of products or manufacturers, you tend to, if it's V or a Z, you have to scroll all the way down to get there. I suppose you could do ZA.
Yeah, no, that is something that we're sort of working on in the background. So hopefully in
Yeah,
a few months'
no,
time we'll
that's
see
great.
improvements there, more tightly linked with the NBS source initiative
Exactly.
we're working on. In terms of, I see you've got the L1050 there, roof windows, but you've amended the prefix and the suffix. Can you say a little bit about what your approach has been to what you put in the prefix and suffix?
Yeah, well, this has been again a very sort of powerful addition. So the prefixes, I like to give each thing a code, and that comes in later when I build up the pricing schedule. So I just get a list of sort of 3-4 character codes, and then there's a clause, a spec clause that goes with that, and then a price. And again, the suffix is just sort of additional information for to help the contractor when they're tendering.
I
Because
noticed
they
in the lighting section you had, I think it was like 2 room 1 or 2. So you sort of use the suffix slightly differently for different clauses.
Yeah. And again, it's sort of looking ahead to how the pricing schedule is built up when I extract this information. So again, the code, yeah. So that should be yeah. The code is either a prefix or a suffix, and then you know it's a luminaire, and then each light. So downlight 1 is DL1, and then the next one downlight 2 is DL2, etc.
Yeah, interesting. And of course, what you're showing here is how it looks when it's in its sort of rich database in the cloud format. But I presume when you issue it as part of a tender package, you export it to a PDF. Can you show the
Yes.
PDF if that's the case?
Yeah, sure. So the PDF looks something like this, and again, this is still a work in progress. But as I said, 33 sections. So even though it's just a loft project, you know, everything is thought about. No scope gaps, no stone left unturned on this one. Yeah, so demolition all the way through. This is just this. So this is the format that comes out of Chorus currently. So it's got the project code, client name, and then practice name and date.
And if we jump back to the software, did I notice that you published this 2 or 3 times, and it was sort of building up so the publish history tab on the right hand side there?
Yeah, so I did a initial draft, and then as I've done further edits, I've repeated the draft, and then when it's ready to send to the client for comment, I'll do another export.
And would you
I've been
expect to see that increase through the construction timeline as revisions and architect's instructions are issued and things?
Yeah, exactly. I'll track it then as it goes on from a sort of formal issue. So when it goes to a sort of tender issue and then a construction issue.
And is this the sort of job that you'd also maybe package up into smaller sort of work packages, or will you always issue the full specification?
No, I think for this one it's always a specification, but then I do the prelims as a separate document.
Yeah, yeah. And you said at the start when you introduced your practice that you don't just do the sort of technical design, but you also manage the tenders and act as contract administrator with progress payments, etc.
Yeah.
How do you take this information from Chorus and then manage the costs on a job that doesn't have a big job with a bill of quantities? Can you show a little bit of how you do that, please?
Yeah, if I can just bring this one up. So this one might give you an idea. So on the left, that is the spec check report that you can currently get out of Chorus. So it brings in these various fields as columns. From building, it had a sort of neat little tool which brought in the section, the clause, and then the subheading as CSV. So you have 3 different columns. And then moving on from that, I've built a pricing schedule, which was something like this on the left. And then on the right, the contractor then completes that. So just looking at section M, for example, M20, it'll bring in all the subsections, all the individual clauses. And the highlighted green ones are then a line item where the contractor's asked to quantify that, put in a rate, and then put in a total and a subtotal.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So the ones you highlight with the green color are where you want the contractor to break the price down a little bit further if you maybe negotiating variations in future and things, but then it will all add up to a total price at the end.
Yeah, so if you look down here, for example, so tiling in a bathroom, so there is an area measure and there's a rate built in, and then the line below there's an installation cost, so that's broken right down to the finer detail. So it's almost a sort of bill of quantities level for that particular.
And in terms of the quantities themselves, there, are you asking the tenderers to put what they have measured themselves down in there?
I do, yeah. So initially I ask them to measure, and then if they're wildly off, I'll actually pull out some data from the BIM model and either correct them up or down, depending on how wildly off they are.
Sorry, did you say you also use the cross references in the drawings as well and manage that using Revit? Is it possible to show that a little bit, please?
Yeah, I can show that quickly. I'll show one I've got previously. So these, for example, all these tags linked to clauses. This is actually to building, but the same thing works for Revit with the shared parameters. So again, you see my name and my code is the first thing they see, and then the NBS clause section is the second reference.
And did I see those also used in one of the schedules in Revit, in one of those early sheets that you showed?
Yeah. So if
it looks like you've got a fully coordinated set of specifications, drawings, schedules, and pricing document.
Yeah, so this schedule is again pulled out of Revit and is pulling in NBS references from the specification. So windows and doors, and again that schedule is drawing in that data. So yeah, and again this schedule produced in Revit is pulling in all the clauses from the spec. So it's a sort of dynamic link. And again,
how did you work together with building service engineer on the mechanical and electrical? How did you get that level of responsibility in what you specified and what they specified?
Well, it was me specifying all of it actually on this one, because it's such a small project. It's usually just me and a structural engineer that delivers something like this.
Okay, and I guess that's where the domestic electrical and mechanical sections come in handy in the small works library.
Exactly, yeah, and yeah, plumbing fixtures and things like that.
Okay, that's really been fascinating. Thank you, Jeremy. I just wanted to finish off. What do you think the main benefits are that Chorus will bring to your practice, so going forward now?
Well, as I say, the fact that you can work sort of fluidly between, you're not sort of landlocked or tied to a specific place of work is a massive boon and a huge advantage, I think, to flexible working and living. The fact it's sort of dynamic and within the cloud, again, there's less chance of sort of crashing and errors and loss of work. So again, increase in productivity. So it's just win-win really. And then again, if the list of suppliers, if you've got access to all of source, I think that's going to be a powerful addition. And then just as the tools get refined for formatting and personalizing that to your Office template, I think then it's just it's a major addition to every practice's, especially small practices, software.
The thing that's apparent to me there, just from talking through, is I think some people think small practices maybe don't need the good software as much, but the fact you're doing so many roles and you haven't got the cost consultant supporting you here and doing it, you almost need more advanced software for a smaller practice than you do if you were like huge multidisciplinary working on a large project.
I think it's true because you're exposed to although it's smaller, it's a lot more risk because you're doing a lot more. So what I learned from a big practice is the sort of true power and risk reduction, management of a specification.
Oh, that's great to hear. Well, thank you for your time today, Jeremy, and good luck on the future project.
Thanks very much, Stephen. Take care.